So President Trump just finished up a visit to the UK, including a conference with Prime Minister Starmer. And while he was over there, he completely destroyed both UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer as well as London Mayor Sadiq Khan. But before we get to that, some very quick context on what in part led up to this. As we recently had the magnificent Unite the Kingdom rally over in London with millions of Patriots, reports between 1 and up to 3 million Patriots taking to the streets of London to both celebrate Great Britain and criticize Prime Minister Keir Starmer. The corporate press has been doing their hardest to try and smear the good people of that rally, trying to say that it's all a bunch of far-right people, and also diminishing the amount that showed up. They keep trying to claim it's around 100,000 people, when in reality it was clearly at least 1 million. The lies continue when they try and misrepresent the rally goers, trying to say that they were attacking police and stuff like that, when in reality we saw the Metro Police actually getting community noted back on Twitter because they were circulating old footage from a completely different protest back in 2020. London Mayor Sadiq Khan then went on air trying to smear the Unite the Kingdom rally and all of the Patriots who attended, just like we're seeing the corporate press also do.
Look, before we begin, I want to address the events of this weekend. On Saturday, Met officers once again put themselves on the line to keep Londoners safe and facilitate the right to protest. I want to say thank you to all those involved for their work and to offer my heartfelt thoughts to those that were injured in the line of duty. I know that policing protest, especially of the sort we saw this weekend, is complex and places huge demand on the Met. I was shocked by the violence officers faced, and I've been clear that it's completely unacceptable. I also want to take the opportunity to categorically reject the appalling racism we saw on the capital streets this weekend. As the far right attempts to sow hatred, fear and division, I know many Londoners will be feeling scared. I want to be clear, everyone, no matter their race, faith or background, is welcome here. Now's the time for us to come together as Londoners and proud Brits to reject the far right, as we have done many times before.
These smears against the Unite the Kingdom rally as just a bunch of far right racists and extremists and all that is just so ridiculous. Allow me to present to you this brief clip that I played in my prior coverage. Here's what Sadiq Khan is referring to as a far-right hate.
I have to come and support the event, uniting the whole country, bringing everybody together, bringing the 4 nations together. That's why I dress up and then come and support. I'll be integrated, so I have to respect the culture, the people, and then good governance.
So that guy's friggin' awesome, and that's just extremely wholesome. But of course, to Sadiq Khan, we gotta smear that guy too. How dare he be at that far-right rally? And a big reason that these creeps are trying to smear the British Patriots as far right is simply because these Patriots are criticizing Starmer's policies on immigration, which are far too loose and has contributed to a number of issues in Britain. There have also been multiple occasions where, as I've said so many times, a number of these illegal migrants have been caught, charged, and sentenced for horrific crimes against women and children, but still put up in hotels that taxpayers are funding via their pounds. Of course they would be upset. Who wouldn't be upset with that? But if you speak out against it, you might be labeled a far-right extremist, or in even worse cases, you might even be arrested. As the Times UK has reported, police make 30 arrests a day for offensive online messages. This accumulating to, at times, over 10,000 arrests annually for social media messages, even for things deemed as hate speech, which could simply be, as mentioned, criticizing these immigration policies and what these migrants are doing. We even saw a few months ago that Starmer had created an elite task force to monitor social media posts for messages that were criticizing migrants. And so now President Trump has absolutely obliterated London Mayor Sadiq Khan. This tweet reading news. When asked why Sadiq Khan was not at the royal banquet on his state visit, President Trump says, "I didn't want him there." You know what? I'll just play the clip. Here you go. The last caption, though. Sadiq Khan, the mayor of London, wasn't welcomed, and he did not attend.
State visit, spectacular. Right. And yet the mayor of London can't be there.
I didn't want him there. I asked that he not be there. I don't want them. I think the...
Holy smokes, dude. Oh my gosh.
Mayor of London, Khan, is among the worst mayors in the world. And we have some bad ones.
Oh my gosh.
If you look at Chicago, but I think he's the equivalent of the mayor of Chicago. I think he's done a terrible job. Crime in London is through the roof. The mayor of London, Mayor Khan, he's done a terrible job. And on immigration, he's a disaster. No, I asked that he not be there.
That's so freaking crazy and hilarious.
He wanted to be there, as I understand. I didn't want him. I've not liked him for a long time. I just think, I have a certain pride in London and UK. My mother was born in Scotland, as you know. And when I see Mayor Khan do a bad job, the stabbings and the dirt.
President Trump wasn't done there. He also had a few interactions with Kier Starmer that have been hilarious to see. And so Kier Starmer actually tweeted, "Today is all about delivering for the British people, creating jobs, opportunity, and economic growth in every corner of our country." In the clip, we can see President Trump shaking hands with Starmer and his wife, Victoria. But let's take a look at prior tweets Starmer had made, actually. Back on February 15th, 2017, he reposted The Guardian and said, "The battle of Trump v. rule of law and human rights is real. We need to be clear. Don't accept his agenda." That, of course, is just one tweet, but let's return to the present now. Breaking, Donald Trump demands Kier Starmer calls out the military to stop the small boat invasion. Kier Starmer must comply.
I think your situation is very similar. You have people coming in, and I told the Prime Minister I would stop it, and it doesn't matter if you call out the military, it doesn't matter what means you use, but it's going to destroys countries from within. And we're actually now removing a lot of the people that came into our country. It's a very hard chore. We were given a very, very bad hand. Millions of people came in from prisons and mental institutions. We have to remove them. And we are removing them. We have no choice, and I feel very strongly about it. Thank you.
A top response reading, "At least someone is fighting for Britain. Too bad it's not the British government." Well, fortunately, the British people have spoken, and it would be unwise for Kier Starmer and other politicians like him to continue going against the will of the people. However, some people in Britain are not happy with Trump showing up, holding their own rally that they called the Stop Trump Rally. Very creative, I know. But as this tweet reads, at the Stop Trump rally, every single flag was foreign. These people aren't British. They despise this country. Deport them. We've got a 25-second long clip here where they have these J.D. Vance beach balls, but it's hilarious how the freaking ball gets thrown back to the stage, and the guy speaking gets all mad for a second. It's almost hits the camera equipment. You could see for yourself right now.
This is not how I envisaged this going. Try and keep it away from the cameras, people.
Yeah, a bunch of geniuses, huh?
Send it backwards. There we go. Let's pop that down there.
Then there was also this clip, but quick side note, my computer just crashed and now my VTuber's all messed up, and I'll deal with that after I finish the video, so no model for the rest of the video. But yeah, we have this tweet that says, "Soros-funded agitators in England holding anti-Trump placards and wearing, quote, expect resistance t-shirts. Asked who is expect resistance, and they say no idea, never heard of it." So yeah, showing how fake these people are.
Hi guys, can I just ask what the Expect Resistance campaign is? No idea, never heard of it. It's on your shirt.
What the frick, dude?
Oh, I see, no, yeah. No idea, never heard of it. It's on your shirt. Oh, I see, no, yeah. That's Amnesty International. Okay, what's it stand for? What's the movement? I don't know, it's no.
I don't know. As you wear this shirt and you're holding up this ridiculous Trump Hitler picture thing, bro, what a joke.
I don't know. I mean, expect resistance from Amnesty International. Okay.
Yep. And that reminded me of this clip that I think you guys are going to find hilarious. The context, Savannah Hernandez had said, "I'm at UTSA and these pro-Palestinian protesters are so intent on making Charlie Kirk's vigil about themselves that they keep screaming in the middle of it." That part's not hilarious. That is very tacky, to say the least. Here's the funny part. They feel so strongly about their cause, in fact, that they didn't even realize they spelled Palestine incorrectly.
Do you guys know you spelled Palestine wrong?
What a joke, bro. They spell it with an I instead of an E. So once again, these people don't even know what they're talking about. They don't even know what they're doing. This lady looks completely clueless and like she doesn't even care. Returning to the UK, we had seen some of those protesters in the Stop Trump rally or whatever they're calling themselves. But here we see British patriots supporting Trump. So we'll compare that with the caption, though. Sadiq Khan had said, "It's increasingly clear that any official visit from President Trump to Britain would not be welcomed." Trump said, "He is a stone-cold loser who should focus on crime in London, not me." Meanwhile, in London, streets are flooded to support Trump. Sadiq Khan is losing.
And we want you to succeed. Forget about the people in London. Forget about the establishment. Forget about the detractors in the fake news media. The real people out there in the United Kingdom. We love you, Mr. President.
Returning to the press conference with Prime Minister Starmer and President Trump, we have Kier Starmer completely falls apart during the press conference with President Trump. When asked if he would consider also naming Antifa a terrorist organization, his answer was a bumbling mess of words.
Thank you very much. Brian, please.
Thank you. Prime Minister, it's good to see you again. You have a beautiful country. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Two questions. One, just recently, President Trump labeled Antifa domestic terrorists. Would you consider doing something like that in your country?
Well, we obviously will take decisions for ourselves. I don't want to comment on the decisions of the President, but we take our decisions ourselves.
Sorry about that clip having such low audio. Like, I had to raise it as high as I could in post-production, and even then it was still pretty low. Needless to say, people have not been happy with Starmer's performance in that press conference, or really overall, of course, but got takes like this. Kier Starmer just lied his way through that entire press conference. I've never seen anything like it. The gaslighting was off the charts. The man is not fit to be prime minister. And this one reading, how disturbing is it that Donald Trump so clearly loves Britain much more than Kier Starmer? It's never been more obvious. He knows the prime minister is destroying our country from within on everything from open borders to energy. On that note about energy, we've also got this clip, but sadly, once again, this is extremely low audio. I don't know what's going on here, but here's the caption. Right after Prime Minister Kier Starmer professes his love of windmills, President Trump has this rebuttal. We don't do wind because wind is a disaster. It's a very expensive joke, frankly.
And we had a expression that I used a lot, drill, baby, drill. And as you know, we brought fuel way down, the prices way down. And we don't do wind because wind is a disaster. It's a very expensive joke, frankly.
Thankfully, this next clip has fine audio, and it looks like we're returning to the whole free speech thing once again, which Starmer had already made a complete mockery of himself a few months ago, trying to answer this sort of question on free speech. So let's take a look at this one.
Despite what we talked about in Scotland a few weeks ago, we still have 12,000 people a year here being arrested for social media posts, for free speech violations. Does that not remain an important area that there is still a lot of disagreement on?
I'd like to have you answer that.
And on free speech, that has long lived in this country, free speech. It's one of the founding values of the United Kingdom, and we protect it jealously and fiercely, and always will, and we will bear down on any limits on.
Okay, bro, that freaking look that Trump gave him is crazy. I was like, do I want to pause and comment on that? And then it just kept bugging me to not say anything. Like, that freaking stare down is crazy, dude.
Free speech. I draw a limit between free speech and the speech of those that want to peddle paedophilia and suicide social media to children.
So this is the exact rhetoric that he's been using to try and justify the Online Safety Act. That's a direct reference to it.
And therefore, I'm all for free speech. I'm also for protecting children. And so that's the balance we strike. But we have had freedom of speech in this country for a very long time, and we will always protect it.
So yeah, this is just him trying to still justify the Online Safety Act, it seems, which has already been weaponized against the people of Britain to try and censor their free speech. It has significantly less to do with what he's referring to than he's trying to make it seem. I also found this clip, which it turns out right before the question about free speech, there was a question about Christianity in Britain.
Having been in DC for a few weeks, it's really interesting to see how you run the country as a proud Christian leader. And it really begs the question, to the Prime Minister, if you don't mind. Are we still a Christian country? But also...
when you say we, are you talking here or...?
Here. The
Here?
UK. I'm still British. I might
I'd
live in
rather
America.
have
I'm
him
still
answer
British.
that question.
But also,
I can't give you that answer.
That's for the Prime Minister.
Then she repeats the part about free speech that I already played, so skipping ahead to his answer about Christianity in Britain.
Look, I mean, in terms of I was christened, so that is my church has been all my life, and we are, that is wired into our informal constitution. Of course, we celebrate many other faiths as well, and I'm really proud that we're able to do so as a country. And on free speech...
And what comes next is the part where he answers about free speech that we already played and discussed mere minutes ago. Now, interestingly enough, it seems like the journalist who asked that question doesn't realize that Starmer is actually a self-proclaimed atheist, not this Christian leader, as she framed in the question there. Many outlets sourcing the Sunday Times magazine in 2021, where Starmer had mentioned that he does not believe in the Lord. So you would imagine that the journalist would not have specifically asked him about being a Christian leader there, and that Starmer would have corrected her when she asked that question, but for whatever reason, he didn't seem to mention his actual opinion on this, unless perhaps his opinion has since changed, but there doesn't seem to be any publicly made statements from Starmer since then that would indicate that he has changed his stance. And that's really it for some of the highlight moments of that conference with President Trump over in the UK, along with Prime Minister Starmer. So let me know what you think about all this stuff, as President Trump has since departed from the UK. And I hope you enjoyed my coverage. If you did, please consider liking and or subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your support as always. Have a great weekend ahead, and I'll see you in the next one.